Inside the Malaysian prince's nightmare scandal with a 16-year-old model. 15 years ago, Prince Fakhry was involved in a shocking scandal that rattled Malaysia. He was accused by his 16-year-old wife, the famous Indonesian model, Manohara Pinot, of sexual abuse and assault. It got so horrible that she had to flee Malaysia, fearing for her life. How did the prince react when he found that she fled? What was her life like before and after? Was the abuse life-threatening? This is not a story you can miss, so stick around until the end to find out the disturbing details of the marriage. Welcome to Crown Tale, and let's get into the video. Kelantan is one of the most powerful states in Malaysia and is ruled by Sultan Muhammad V, elder brother to Prince Tengku Fakhry. At the time of his marriage to young Manohara, the state of Kelantan was ruled by Sultan Abdul Halim. His father, Prince Fakhry, was known to the public as a benevolent noble, raised in the lavish household of the Malaysian power. He stayed in Malaysia for his primary education, then continued his studies at the United College in Singapore. His A-level education was in England, where he completed a degree in finance at the University of Westminster in London. Upon his return to Malaysia, it was quite news when it was announced that the prince would be getting married to Manohara Pinot. Little did the country know of the severe consequences that would follow after this announcement. Manohara was an American-Indonesian model who resided and worked in Indonesia. Her father, George Mans, who was an American engineer, divorced her mother, Daisy Fargerina, in 1994 when she was just 2 years old. Manohara was then raised by her mother, and because of her mixed-race identity, her outstanding beauty became a sensation in Indonesia. At just 14 years of age, her modeling career took off and skyrocketed her into fame, so much that the Indonesian magazine, Harper's Bazaar magazine, named her among the 100 most precious women in Indonesia. She would go on to become a public figure, turning into the face of brands and various companies. And as her career blossomed, so did her fame. She soon became an international sensation. When at just 15 years of age, in the year 2008, she was invited by the Malaysian Deputy Prime Minister to a dinner. It was at that dinner that the young Indonesian model met the Prince of Kelantan, Tengku Fakhry. They soon began a seemingly beautiful relationship, which resulted in the announcement of a wedding between the two lovers. Despite their age difference, it seemed the marriage was destined for success. That could have not been further from the truth. On August 26, 2008, the 30-year-old Prince Fakhry and the 16-year-old Manohara was wedded in a surprisingly low-key and quiet wedding where only key personalities and close friends were invited. Things seemed to be going wonderfully for the young bride. She was welcomed into the royal family of Kelantan and was granted the title of Syekh Payonun by the Sultan to mark her status elevation. She went with her husband on trips and events all over the country. This was a life most women would have given anything for, and that was why it was such a shock when just 2 months into her marriage, Manohara tried to get back to her home country of Indonesia. According to her, she was being mistreated by her husband, and for some strange reason, no one seemed to believe her, and her voice appeared to be unheard in Malaysia. She was kept at the palace, and it even seemed that the prince was doing his best to please her, as the public could witness his actions that seemingly appeared to prove the love and care that he had for his new bride. He bought her an expensive car as a gift, and took her and her mother to the nation of Saudi Arabia for Umrah, but on their return, he took only Manohara to Malaysia and prevented her mother from joining them. The exact nature of what Manohara was going through was not known yet by the public, but only her mother had an idea of what she was going through at the hands of Fakhry. Only her mother knew the horrors that her beautiful daughter had to endeavour being kidnapped. Daisy, Manohara's mother, began a campaign to rescue her daughter, pleading with the Indonesian government and the National Commission on Human Rights to help her rescue her daughter, who she claimed had been abducted by Fakhry on April 23, 2009. A controversial event gave more precedence to Daisy's claim. The Malaysian Prince Minister, Razak, dodged a question about the abduction of Manohara by Prince Fakhry when he met the Indonesian president. Manohara's mother went on to meet with the National Commission on Violence Against Women in Jakarta to demand her daughter's release from her abductors in Malaysia, but despite her efforts, it would be 9 months later before Manohara would would, by a stroke of luck, escape her imprisonment. The Kew Langton royal family were being hosted in Singapore for the treatment of the then ailing Sultan, and while they were busy ensuring the monarch recovered, this distraction gave Manohara the chance to escape, and she took it without looking back. She encountered quite a lot of obstacles, especially from the Kew Langton guard, but she escaped thanks to the help of the US Embassy and her mother, who was waiting outside with her car. Manohara had previously informed them about the location of her hotel, and they took her to Changi Airport and back in Indonesia. In Indonesia, Manohara revealed a lot of chilling details about her marriage to Fakhry. She shocked the world by telling them the stories of how she was locked up in her room and treated like a common animal, and how she was sexually abused and tranquilized any time she refused to comply. She also said that Fakhry had injected her with drugs to increase her chances of pregnancy, and they would have sex with her anytime he wanted, especially when she didn't want to. In fact, she revealed that he had raped her even before they got married, but she was too afraid to reveal it. He treated her like property and would never have allowed her to gain her freedom. She explained that during public events and activities, she was warned to keep a happy face and a cheerful appearance, else she would be punished and mistreated at the palace. This is truly as evil as it gets. How this went on for so long in the presence of the royal family is thought-provoking in many ways, but Fakhry denied all accusations, and the issues became a major scandal across the two countries. He claimed she was being influenced by her mother, that she left on her own will, and that had nothing to do with how she was being treated. By July 2009, Fakhry took legal action in the Malaysian Islamic Sharia courts with intentions to clear his name of a scandal and bring Manohara to justice. The court decided that she was to return to Fakhry and also to return the $1.8 million that she had supposedly borrowed from the prince. Manohara did not obey the court order, as she vehemently demanded that the case be brought before an Indonesian court which Prince Fakhry had no influence to control over. She also pointed out that the case was carried out in her absence, and hence she had no obligation to obey its rulings. Her decision to not return to Malaysia was praised by many as wise and cautious, as the chances of her getting abducted again would have been very high if she had returned to Malaysia. Prince Fakhry claimed to be on a mission to clear his name from a scandal, and that he was innocent and was not guilty of any of Manohara's accusations. On the issue of $1.8 million that he demanded from Manohara, he claimed that it was not about the money, but his desire to get justice for the damage done to his name and image. Manohara would never return to Fakhry, and in that same year of 2009, they were officially divorced. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos. After the divorce, Manohara returned to her modelling career and furthered her education. Despite her ordeal, she has grown to become an inspiration to many young women. It is now almost 15 years since she experienced such inhumane abuse. Manohara Pinot is now 32 years old and works with various luxurious brands and beauty products, and even volunteers in animal shelters and rehabilitation for orphaned and abandoned animals. Despite the tragic end of her early marriage, she does not seem to be wavering in her pursuit of happiness. Prince Tenko Fakhry, on the other hand, has had to experience some tough times, and he was implicated in the murder of his elder brother's bodyguard in 2010. But this second scandal didn't end like the first, because he was made to give up his title for the cynical crime he committed. Let us know in the comments below if you'd like us to uncover this scandal in a future video. Despite Manohara thriving now, you must just wonder what her life would have been like if she didn't have the courage to escape Fakhry, and how the prince could do such evil things to such a beautiful person. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.